All right, I'm here with RJ Tolosa, and he started his own business. That's why I really wanted to get him on the show. Really want to get him on the show because he used to work in corporate America, and now he works for himself. He has his own team. So that is something that's super cool to me. I know a lot of people are entrepreneurs out there trying to start their own stuff and hustle, and what it even takes to hire people and recruit and build a team. This guy's done it. And
Thanks.
he's a super warm-hearted guy. We met a networking event a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about Lois Howe's. We both listen to podcasts. And then the first conversation I have with RJ, he's so genuine. He's saying, I really just want to add value. Like, I just want to add value to people's lives. I was really touched by that, man.
Appreciate that. Yeah. No, I mean, and I appreciate you. When I met you, I said, you got this thing going on with emotional intelligence. I'm like, a lot of people don't know about it. And man, I just want to, from gratitude standpoint, I want to thank you for this opportunity to speak on your podcast and really just kind of share out there and add more value to people out there. This is a great medium. People are going to listen to this and hopefully the people listening will take some nuggets from my own personal journey and also what it takes to be maybe an entrepreneurial, get some success into there and maybe an insight of what it takes. Because a lot of people tend to, if you would agree with me, they tend to see on maybe social media the success part, the finished product, right? I'm not a finished product yet. I'm still working towards there, but maybe a lot more people need to hear about the struggles and what it takes to get into there because people just assume like, oh, the fly by night, overnight kind of thing. Really, that's not the case. And we want to make sure we debunk that myth and make sure that it really does take hard work, dedication, and a lot of things that go into what you want to do.
I love it. It's funny how social media does. You see this little snapshot of someone's success. Yeah, you see the end product. You don't see the hustle and grind. You have an interesting story.
Right.
Where did it all start? How do you want to start with your story?
Man, if you want to go back, we'll be here all day. I could talk, but definitely, I think when it comes to just my background a little bit, I used to be in nursing. I used to be a nurse, and then also I worked at Starbucks for quite a long time, almost about 7 years. So working there part-time, it was an easy job. I can't speak for the people that work at Starbucks nowadays. It looks like they have a harder time than when I worked there. Really, it's changed for them. But it allowed me to develop my skill set, I guess, in conversing with people, having conversations, and understanding that people are going to be people. People are different. Right? You'll have the people that will walk up to you, they say hello, or people will just give you a blank stare and just say coffee. Right? Want it now? Give it to me now. Other than that, I think my nursing background also helped me, and especially in schooling, they emphasize on empathy. Right? Put yourself into other person's shoes. And really, don't be so judgmental. Like really take a step back, think about it, breathe, and really understand what they're going through. Because if you don't understand, then it's going to be hard for you to really get a snapshot or picture of how to communicate to that other person. And so that's one key thing going back. For me, I'm a Filipino American. I was actually born in the Philippines, and I was brought out here by my family. I have an older sister, right? So my mom. Was able to fortunately find a job in New Jersey. So my entry point in this country when I was like a little under 3 years old was New Jersey. So shout out to Newark, New Jersey, right? For the airport, but also we lived in Freehold, right? So that was my earliest. When they say like you can't really remember things when you're 3 or under, but I think my earliest memory is actually flying into that airport because my first plane ride ever as a kid. And I just remember one of my parents, they bought me this airplane toy and it basically said Newark, New Jersey airport or whatever. And that's what I remember. So we lived there. And then I think a couple years, and then we actually drove across country to California to live with my uncle. And he helped us get started over here in California. Ever since then, never left. Love it in the Bay Area.
Sure.
Right. I live in the East Bay right now. So, and it's different, it's different from, you get 4 seasons to like 2.5. It's really out here.
It's crazy. It was still sunny in December.
Yeah, right now.
It's about halfway through December.
I was telling Jerry, it's really nice out here right now. You could feel it outside right now. So we've been experiencing some rain and some cloud, but definitely, there's no other place like the Bay Area.
Isn't it funny how we all have memories that kind of are turning points in our lives? I remember when I was a kid, I must have been 4, and I was at preschool, and dad didn't pick me up, and the teacher called and said, "Oh yeah, like you're having a baby brother, like your dad will pick you up later and you'll have a baby brother." I was like, I remember that. And I'm wondering what your first memory is when you started your entrepreneurial path officially. Was it like a low point where you're like, I don't know, working a double night shift as a nurse, you wake up early to go to Starbucks, and then it's like, screw this? Or maybe you were inspired by someone. Does any moment come to you that?
Absolutely. And that's a great question. So for my regular schedule, I used to work at Starbucks, and there was one time, or a lot of times rather, that I would have to be at the store by 3:30 because we open at 4 a.m. So 3:30 a.m., 4 a.m., and then probably my shift ends at 12 noon or so. And then with nursing, you just work that afterwards. But the one key thing that I think really set it off, I woke up one day, I was 25, and I'm like, oh my God, is this going to be the rest of my life? And actually, what do I want to accomplish? What is my purpose? I don't know what hit me, but it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, I was like, is this what you call your midlife crisis? I'm like having my quarter life crisis already, right? So I had to really reflect and understand, hey, I'm 25 now. What am I going to do with my life?
And that's funny that you just got hit over the head with it.
Yeah, and I think nowadays for people in my generation, I'm 31 now, by the way, but when I was 25, I think that was like the key thing, because when I talked to other people, I was like, hey, did you feel like you needed to grow real quick, real fast when you turned 25? And then they said, yeah, you know why that is? It's because I think we were off our parents' health plans already. but aside, but jokes aside, I think it was just more so like, wow, at the time, so my parents separated, but living with my mom, and we were actually fortunate enough to acquire a home in 2010. It was a short sale home, and we're going, the promise to each other was like, we'll go halfsies on it. We'll, I'll pay my half, she'll pay her half, and we'll do it together. But it's just, I woke up one day and I was like, you know what, my mom's going to turn 65 by 2014. I have 4 years to go. And what does that mean? If I want to make sure she has a comfortable retirement, what do I want to do? Of course, then I want to make extra income so that maybe that eventually I can take over the payments. She can use her retirement money and not have to worry about one of the fixed expenses, which is a mortgage.
You're pretty tight with your mom.
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Going halvesies on a house.
Yeah. Our friends back then was like, man, it's like your mom's like your roommate. Like, kind of like in a way, but she's chill. She's laid back. She's really awesome. But she's actually a big credit to who I am and how I communicate to people. So in how to care for other people. She really is the backbone to
I
our
sense
family.
that tremendous warmth when we met the first day. I remember telling you, like, dude, you're so like likable right now.
I appreciate that.
So that what's your mom's name?
My mom's name is Erlinda.
All right, thanks, Erlinda.
Yeah. She's enjoying her time. She's in the Philippines right now, so our goals have lined up.
Erlinda, thank you for raising this.
Thank you, hey mom. Yeah, she's out there enjoying her time in the Philippines right now. That's her retirement. Enjoying, but she'll come back soon. Don't spend too much time there.
I'm gonna. So you want to earn some side income, so to pay the mortgage, and somehow you start on this business entrepreneurial path. You're not stuck, but you're working at Starbucks. You're then going to nursing. How do you even find the time to start something?
Right. So either you could be really good in time management, or find a business that you could leverage to work for you, even though you're not 100% in the door, if that makes sense. So that was a key thing for me, because it was a tiring schedule with my everyday life and things going on. And at that point in time, it was just, we're human, we're naturally lazy, right? So that's one of the comfort zones that we had to break up from. But what was great was that with the company that I'm with, I was already a client since 2007. So in hindsight, in my mind, I already knew that they were around, but I didn't know how things were going. I didn't really treat it like it's a business that I was interested in or anything like that. But because of everything happens for a reason. So my journey through working through Starbucks, going through nursing school and getting into nursing, getting licensed and all that, I think everything had prepared me to find out what I really want to do in life or the direction where I want to go. Never really, and there was thoughts where maybe I want to go to business one day, but it was never really a big interest. I didn't know how to start a business. I don't even know where I want to get into business in. I don't even have the money to get started with that, right? The capital to get started with a traditional business. So I never knew how to get that going. And I didn't know all the things that I know now about how important it is to have a mentor and all those things. But that they say that the most powerful thing is is a man with a made up mind. So I made a decision that, hey, I got to do something different. Whatever it is I got to do, let's do it. Of course, it's going to be right and ethical and logical because I want to help people. But everything lined up with the business that I got into now is because how my mom and I were impacted through the services that they provided. So that was my determining factor. If I was going to do something extra, it was automatically going to go to this company that I'm with right now.
Interesting. Right. So then you take so lessons from your nursing, lessons from your mom, lessons from Starbucks with all the different people.
Right.
You go into the financial services industry,
right?
And then they give you kind of a platform to build your own company, if I'm understanding things correctly.
Yeah.
They give you a platform, but then it's kind of up to you, more or less.
Right. Your mileage may vary. It's really on the person of how much you want to, what you want to do and what you want to develop, or you just want to come in and learn.
So how does that go for you? You've been working there for a little, or you've been a client of the financial services since 2007. And then in 2010, you actually start to say, okay, I'm going to do it myself. You have the nursing skill set, the Starbucks, and you are going to do this on your own time. How do you start making connections with those first few people? How do you start having people say yes to you, say yes to the financial services?
Right. You don't. You don't. You get a lot of no's in the beginning. If you know what I mean. If for those that are entrepreneurs out there that are listening, you got to embrace the no's. That's one key thing that happened for me, and also with Jared here in your podcast with emotional intelligence. I think it's really important because I didn't think that I knew back then what emotional intelligence was, but I think it was just through my company and the leadership that we had that was just like, hey, you know what? You got to discipline your emotions. You got to discipline your disappointments. That was the key thing. So one of my big mentors here in leadership, they really told me, it's not your results that define you, right? You're not who you are because of what you're not doing right now. And it's the process, the journey that you go through and what you're building yourself up to be. Because you can't be if you're like a house right now and you're just the foundation, the floor plan, nothing's even built yet. And someone walks by and they're like, oh my God, I don't want to live there. What's that going to look like? But they don't know it's going to be like this nice, beautiful, I don't know, 2,400, 3,000 square foot home that they don't even realize. So it's really, what is your vision of what you want to become? Are you going to be complacent and be agreeable to who you are now? Or do you have a burning desire to be someone bigger and better than what you are now and potentially could help more people out there?
Yeah. And I think so many people have that vision, believe it or not. A lot of people don't. A lot of people do too.
Mm-hmm.
And they start executing on it. And then they fail those first few times.
Right.
And then they don't really continue.
Right.
And you said it sounded like you got a bunch of no's in the beginning.
Yes.
What was some of those? Do you have any stories of how it'd be a particularly harsh rejection or not a particularly harsh rejection, but what was it like going through all those no's and how did you keep going? I think that's the secret. How did you keep going?
Right. Okay. So two-part question. The first part is what kind of no's did I get? So basically when you're an entrepreneur and you go through things, you're going against the grain. You're going against the grain. You're doing something different. You have a vision for something, or you want to do more for yourself, and you have a group of people that you love and care about. It's your family, your friends. But unfortunately, there's a crab mentality. You ever heard the crab mentality analogy?
Yeah,
right.
goes
right?
up.
So imagine you're at your seafood restaurant and you see the tank full of crabs, and one crab is trying to get out, it's almost getting out, and then it gets pulled down by all the other crabs. So I'm not saying that your family and friends are crabby, but that's just kind of the mentality. It's not because they don't want you to succeed. It's because you're breaking away from the mold, and they might not know how to deal with that. So they want to bring you back down to their level if they see a little bit of success. You get scared by that. Like, oh my God, my friend's gonna forget about me. My family member's gonna leave me for becoming successful, but I'm not doing anything with my life right now, and I can't deal with that. So I want to bring you back down to me.
Did any of your family members do that to you, or
no? I'm blessed to have a very supportive family. My mom, my sister. That's because they were exposed to our business as well. So I had it a lot easier on that forefront. But where my bigger, I guess, rejections came into, or feelings of disappointment came into, is with my closest friends. Right. So that's ideally the key thing, because, they're on their own path. We're young. We're 25-year-olds. Not everyone's there and thinking about the future. Whoever is listening right now.
Were they saying, "Oh, this is dumb for you to like quit Starbucks or to not hang out with us on the weekend and do this other thing that you're doing"? Did they say that explicitly to you? Like, how did your friends kind of?
Not outright. Okay. I think it was more like implied, like, man, are you getting into a scam? This is new to us. This is traditional. They don't even pay you hourly. What is that? Right? Of course, when you're an entrepreneur, you're building a business. You're not working on an hourly wage. You're trying to get out of that, right? I'm trying to make a profit, not wages. Right? Profits are better than wages. That's from Mr. Jim Rohn right there.
What did you have to do with your friends? Did you have to let them go? Did you have to have a crucial conversation with them?
No, I think what's one key thing is you don't want to burn your bridges right away. It's really just over time. So I think the biggest thing that you can do if you're an entrepreneur is that let your success speak so loudly for you that they can't ignore and not recognize that you're doing something. So when you do that, maybe they'll come around, maybe they'll make some sense, or you could just leverage someone to speak to them for you. That this is, that we come from a caring place and we want to share with you what we do. And it's actually for your benefit, not for mine, right? But eventually they'll come to a point where you have to make a decision and say, like, this isn't going to stress me out anymore. I made peace with this. I've done my best to try and share with my friends or family with what I do, right? Maybe not now, maybe later, but I'm okay because I did what I can to my best of my ability right now.
Awesome. I love it. So that's how we can handle disappointment a little bit.
Yeah.
With having disappointing friends, maybe, is not worrying about trying to impress them and just hustling no matter what.
Right. But and how do you deal with that? So that was examples of what I got. How to actually deal with it is because I had a great environment, and also I had great mentorship and associations. So really, at the end of the day, it's who you surround yourself with, the people that you're closest with. Like, let's say the 5 closest people that you are with. If you take their income and you divide it here, right? You divide it amongst yourselves. That's the average income that you'll ever make in your life.
I've heard that, where you take your top 5 friends and add up their income and then divide it by 5, and that'll probably be around your income.
Right. But I want to take a deeper dive.
Sure.
It's passive income. It's the mindset, right? So if you're surrounded with only your top 5 people that are only talking about other people, things, right? Things that don't really make you successful, and that's all you know, and that's all you talk about. And imagine you're stuck also with a job, and you're at your job, and what do we get mostly at a job? Conversations or feeling. Is it mostly negative or is it mostly positive?
Probably negative. People complaining.
A little negative, right? A little negative. Not all the time, right? But I mean, that's what you're going to be used to, and that's what you know. So therefore, by osmosis, I think, right? If you're around that environment all the time, you're going to start feeling the same way. You're going to get your mindset is going to be around that. So for me to change and become the person I need to become, I need to extend, right? I don't burn the bridges of my friends, but I need to get into or add on to my association. Either find myself a physical environment where I can grow, which thankfully, because of my my office and my business that we can do that. We have like-minded individuals. But also, if you don't have that, if you're listening out there, don't make that an excuse. There, you can add to your associations and you can add to your environment. Your environment can be your headphones, right? But it's who you're listening to. So there's people out there, there's tons, I'm telling Jared all the time, or giving him, some of the things I'm listening to. I have another guy that I want to tell you about that I'm listening to. It just fires me up, dude. But we have these people we listen to. It's either podcasts or motivational things. You have people from the personal development industry. Another association you could do is read about, successful stories and positive things. But also, those are really key things to help. If you're down right now in your business or your job, your career, whatever you're doing, expand upon your associations and also maybe hold yourself accountable to being a more positive person.
I can definitely see the value in that, man. I believe in it too.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, for the awkward or socially oblivious or just someone who's a little more shy, introverted.
Yeah.
I understand you were at Starbucks, you were a nurse, and you have this wonderful mom who cared for you and gave you warmth.
Right.
Perhaps there are some other people who realize they got to extend their network. They got to leverage the power of association.
Right.
But they're just more of the engineer type. They're computer nerds. If you could put yourself in their shoes,
yes,
what would you say to them?
Oh, well, first of all, how I am and where I'm at, would you actually believe me if I told you that I'm okay with it? If you put a bunch of the stuff that I like to do on my own time at home, and let's say, I have all the time in the world, I could just stay at home and do all my fun stuff. I don't need to go out and interact with people, right? So I guess I'm sort of introverted, but with this skill set and coming out of my comfort zone, everything happens out of your comfort zone, right? So I think with one of the things in my business is that we do have to talk to people. We do eventually have to meet with people and meet new people as well. So that can be very jarring for let's say engineers or people that don't have careers or personality types that are used to speaking to people. Which I totally understand. I developed it, I think, by working through, like, everything happens for a reason, like I said, right? Working at Starbucks helped prepare me for meeting and talking and knowing how to communicate to different types of people, right? And then also nursing also prepared me to be more empathic as well. So with the engineers or the people that are shy out there, they can start doing little things like doing a meetup group, or if they have a hobby of hiking, or if they have a hobby of gardening, whatever it is, playing a little sport, tennis, what have you. I used to play tennis. And then what else? They have no excuses right now with where the day and age is that they can't communicate or interact with people. If they say, hey, I'm an engineer, I'm only in front of my computer every day, and my only conversation is probably in passing to another engineer. Hey, how's it going? Okay, fine. Right? But other than that, it's on your own time. What can you do? If you still want to break out of that mold, my own advice to you is to really get into developing yourself first. Once you're ready and you're ready to go out there in the world and start talking to more people, you can do that. But I think what needs to be inspected first is how, or it's more so it's not a you can't or you can do it
mindset of improving yourself and learning how to communicate. If you don't have that mindset, there's no way in hell you might go out to some random meetup, but you won't persist or analyze lessons or really throw yourself into it.
Yeah, and Jared, if I could put it really simply, it's not a matter of you can or you can't. Anyone can learn to speak to people. In my honest opinion, anyone can learn how to speak to people, but it really comes down to, do you want to or do you not want to? That's it. If you make that decision, you'll find ways to take the steps to make it necessary so that you can learn how to start talking to people.
And when people are starting to get on this people journey,
yes,
do you consciously develop warmth for people? For example, I come from a background of Buddhism and psychology. And there's a Buddhist or yoga exercise where people imagine someone, they send them, they say, may you be happy and free of suffering.
Okay.
They kind of imagine that person, they send them energy.
Right.
And they do this maybe in the car or on their meditation cushion. They probably don't verbalize that to the other person.
Yeah.
But it's a way to develop warmth, if you will. I'm wondering, do you have any of these little hacks that you do before you connect with people? I don't know if you do jumping jacks outside or if you pull out a little gratitude list, or maybe you're just naturally, charming and warm and you don't need to do any of that stuff.
Right. I think one of my business partners told me that he said, dude, your natural gift is that you're very charismatic and you're easily approachable, or people feel like they could talk to you, which I think is a good gift. But also at the same time, hindsight, it's not duplicatable. But for me, before, I guess my little hack is just telling myself, just do it. In my head, I'm just like, just do it, just go. What's wrong with you? But I think more on the deeper mindset level is because I'm really adopting that. The first thing I told you is when you ask me, why are you here? I just want to bring value to someone. So if you have that mindset when approaching people, it's like, hey, what kind of added value can I bring to that other person today? Because, when I used your restroom upstairs, I saw that little piece of paper that said, look for opportunities to...
Successful people are always looking for opportunities to help other people.
Perfect.
That's it.
That's it. And I saw that and I was like, dude, I'm freaking doing that. That's what I want to do.
So he's referencing bathroom upstairs. I have a little sign in my bathroom that says that. Heads up. Yeah.
Yeah. That was the key thing. I think that people can adopt, really. It's because when you make it about the other person and not yourself, I think that's a key factor for easier conversations and also helping them.
I think, and let's dive into this concept, because this seems to be where people can probably walk away with a good amount of stuff. Because this is your hack almost. This is like, okay, instead of taking for myself, I want to give to them. And you put yourself in that mind frame. Let's go through, break this down a little bit for the engineer watching,
right,
who's a little nerdy. They've heard this concept to add value, but they're not totally sure how to do it. So let's say you see someone across the room. Break it down. Do you ask yourself a question? How do I add value to their life? And then you come up with 10 answers, or is this more of a gut thing where you're like, put yourself in the moment. Like, what's going on when you figure out how to add value to their life?
Perfect. The first thing I think about is human nature. With human nature, you think people naturally want to feel good about themselves?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I give them a compliment. A sincere one, right? They're bald. You can't go walk up to them and say, hey, man, I like your haircut.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, right. So I think that's one key thing too, is that's one of the simplest ways you can add value to someone. Maybe they haven't even received a compliment in the past 5 years. Who knows? All right. They're a hardworking engineer. They're doing their job day in, day out. They're hardworking. It should be normal, by the way. But then they're going above and beyond their call of duty to do their work. But their project manager's like, hey, that's great that you did that. Can you come in on Saturday again? Right? Not even a thank you. Just, hey, you're doing what you're supposed to do anyway, but you're doing extra.
I got to interrupt and just say that is one of my biggest triggers, dude. Like, not getting acknowledgement for hard work.
Right.
It pisses me off, man. Like, I don't get angry at traffic. I don't get angry at politics that much. I don't get that angry. But dude, when I work hard on something and it doesn't get appreciated, dude, just sets me off.
Right.
It sets me off, man. Like, something about that. Something about that one. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's just sharing that moment that happened.
So recognition is important. Whether it's complimenting or someone, you're in some way giving them a recognition.
Yeah, recognition for their work, their effort, something that
could even be as simply as their sense of style. Like, man, I like how you match with your shoes, with your shirt. That's awesome, right? Or you're so color coordinated. That's really cool.
I like this giving a compliment. It really is noticing it's like, it's upping the level of your perception.
Right.
It's really like, instead of just, watching blindly or going through the motions, you got to kind of snap into a different vision of someone. I remember the other day I walked downstairs and I pulled out my phone and I watched a YouTube video as I ate food, and it's very mindless. And I don't think you can give a mindless compliment. You got to snap into the moment and like see and notice something about the other person, their sense of style, the way they arranged the table, the comments they made. You gotta up your like awareness.
Yeah.
To say something that really.
That's a key thing, Jerry. Yeah, that's a key thing too. And also, don't get it wrong. It doesn't have to be a materialistic compliment as well. It could be just very well the way they shake someone's hand. You notice across the room, you're like, oh my God, that's a really good handshake. Like it's a presidential handshake. One of these. Right? Right. It's one of these. You kind of grab with your non-shaking arm or hand, you grab the other person's arm like that.
What was that?
The presidential handshake. You're like, it's like a sincere, like, thank you.
Can I practice?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's like that extra tactile part. So you only get the regular handshake right there, but you get the tactile part right here. It's like, whoa, it's just like this person maybe cares a little bit more to do that. Or you could sense their gratitude. It's like, whoa, this guy has I was like, hey, by any chance, are you a president of something? All right.
I noticed that too. If I can, when I shake someone's hand and they're receptive to it, like they're squeezing back, their body language it feels good to give them a handshake.
Yeah.
I noticed that in conversation. If I can put myself in this spot to be impressed by their energy or something that they say, and I naturally respond with like RJ, that's so freaking cool, dude.
Yeah.
Like that touch in their name.
Yeah.
Like their eyes like spark up.
Yeah. Those are
it's touch. Touch is another.
Those are high level.
Yeah.
High level things right there.
Yeah. Okay. So you've added value to them by giving a compliment. I love it. So when you're coming back to your journey, you start doing this, and then you start building a team. Right. So you have some level of success. And what does building a team look like for you? I don't know if you can say who your first hire was, but when did you get to a point when you were like, okay, I'm ready to impart wisdom on another person. I'm ready for someone to work with me.
Right.
How did you get to that point?
Right. When it started happening, I was like, wow, this is amazing. It's people are coming into my organization, right? They want to do kind of what I do and learn as well for themselves. But I think what made everything click was having a sense of responsibility. For me, when I bring someone into my organization, I'm responsible. I can't do things for them, but I'm responsible to at least guide them to their level of success that they want to achieve. So for me, we do this thing called business orientation, or we call Fast Start. And I asked them, I said, look, do you want strong leadership or weak leadership? So one of those key things is, obviously people would want to go towards strong leadership, but they're probably looking at me like, well, what do you mean? Well, look, weak leadership, in my opinion, is telling you things that are sugar-coated. It's just kind of be a friend with you and just be friends and not really tell you the tough things I need to tell you. Whereas strong leadership is, hey, you're going off the course. You need to go back in here or else you're not going to get what you want. It's not going to be nice. I'm not here, if you want strong leadership, sure, we could be friends, but I'd rather you be successful first and respect me than not like me and be a failure.
Yeah. Interesting. I know there are some managers listening to this, corporate managers,
right,
who have to give feedback and constructive criticism to their employees.
Right.
And I know oftentimes it's not well received.
Yes.
Where people feel not heard, like me, or unappreciated, or there's a miscommunication between management and the worker.
Right.
So how do you give feedback? And in particular, I know there are some different types of people who just crave direct feedback. They're like, give it to me hard,
Right.
give it to me direct, no bullshitting around.
Right.
And then there are other people where if you do that, it's honestly going to upset.
Might kill them off, right?
Yeah.
So I think as
see which person needs it.
If you're in a leadership position in your company, you also have to realize who is the person you're speaking to. And it's your responsibility to be able to convey this message. So for me, I take direct responsibility with the things that I do. So that's one key factor that helps hold me accountable to make sure that I'm watching what I say and how am I saying it to the person that I'm saying it to. If they're a person that receives something more like, ABC 1, 2, 3, and you're kind of just abrasive and saying, hey, you didn't do this, you should have done that, but they don't understand the reasoning why, they're going to keep making the same mistake. So you have to kind of acknowledge and really, maybe one way or one method is something called the sandwich method, right? Hey, Jared, I saw that you did this, which is great. You're going towards the direction we want to, but this is what has been missing. Steps 1, 2, 3, A and C. You did only B, which is great. But for us to prosper as a company or what we need to do here and reach your goals, you actually got to do those other steps in this order, right? You're missing that part. But look, you're doing a great job. I know that you're motivated. I believe that you can actually apply what I just told you, and you're gonna kill it, man.
I love it.
Right.
That's where you give them a compliment, sincere, and then you give them specific feedback on how they can improve.
Tell them about their gifts.
Yeah, tell them about their gifts. One of the things I really liked about Ed Milet, which was
Ed Milet.
This is how we first got started. Actually, we were talking about podcasts, and you mentioned your mentor, and then we chatted after we met at a networking event. You brought up how he was on a thing with Lois Howes, and Lois Howes is one of my favorite podcasters. So this like brought you instant respect points, by the way.
Thank you.
I was like, whoa, like this is one of your mentors. This is whoa. And Ed Milet talks about one of his biggest regrets is how he was an asshole when he was managing people. How he would say mean things. He regretted it.
Like in the beginning of
in the beginning of his career.
Yeah.
These were learning opportunities
that
he had from working with people, working directly with people underneath him. What's the biggest lessons you've learned from being a leader and manager?
Perfect. Very good question. It's learning when to fight back and stand your ground, and also learning when to let the other person win, even though they are wrong.
That's powerful.
Even though they're wrong.
Can you repeat that second one? Letting someone win even when they're wrong.
Right. Letting someone win even though when they are wrong.
Talk to me. When's the last time you used that? Or what comes to mind?
Maybe recently, but I think the way my mindset about it is you have to think about what is going on in that situation right now. And if their emotions are high, what eventually goes lower? Their intelligence, right? So that's usually, you imagine if you're imagining like a husband and wife fighting or a couple, whatever, having a fight. A lot of things are going to be said which shouldn't have been said because emotions are running rampant and intelligence is low. So for me, I have to take a step back and realize, wow, anything that I say right now, even to prove them wrong, it's not going to go well with them. Their ego might be super up, their emotions are high, and their intelligence is low, so they can't receive that information. So you know what? I just say, look, I get it. You're making your point. We'll leave it at this right now, but let's revisit it later once we cool down. That's okay with you. But I do acknowledge that you believe it to be this way. I acknowledge that. Let's talk about it later.
I love this. I really like your strength in doing that. And I want to talk a little bit about that strength. What RJ just did right there was kind of model. Someone is really pissed off and they're perhaps even saying hurtful things. And our typical American culture mentality around this is to fight and yell back and dominate them back, which doesn't lead anywhere. It doesn't lead to relationship building. If you can be the type of person to let other people win when they're angry and take a blow, like this is, because right there, that was you stepping back, and that kind of probably doesn't feel that good.
Right.
At least I know that when I've done it and I take a step back and I just let someone say something hurtful, it doesn't feel that good. But then if I'm able to pause and come back the next day and, have a chat, have a chat like, hey, that was not cool, but blah, blah, blah. If I'm able to do that, usually the relationship gets better. And I know that when I fight back, sometimes I'll be left with like poison in my gut for like a week. If you fight back, it doesn't end. It's so bad to like.
Do you want temporary hurt feelings, or do you want longer term?
Yeah, do you want to win the argument and have hurt feelings for a long time?
And ruin that relationship?
Yeah, right. Or like, man, that's such a
because you guys out there listening, you gotta understand like what kind of time did you invest in that person, right? Or what kind of time did they invest in you as well? And if you're gonna let one little argument ruin the whole thing and potentially ruin not only their success but your success, at the end of the day, who's 100% responsible for that? It's you.
Yeah.
So that's the way that I look at it. It's a skill. Don't get us wrong. Not everyone can develop it. It's difficult. It's still difficult for me, but I have to think, 2 steps ahead of the situation in that regard, and it'll prosper in the way that if you do it right, you'll have that relationship. Business will move forward. Relationship will move forward. And at the end of the day, it's you want to win not only for yourself but also for the other person.
Wow.
So don't make it about you.
That's interesting. I like that mentality. At the end of the day, it's about you guys winning together. And when you have the last say in an argument, you're winning.
Right.
But if you can be the better man or woman and take a blow to the chin and let them win, you're actually probably doing something that's better for both of you.
Oh, and here's a key thing too. The person that says sorry first actually wins.
I was just gonna bring that up, man. I'm just gonna bring that up, dude. I swear to God. I was thinking like, talking about apologizing, because let's say someone says the last hurtful word, you say, okay, like you're upset, we're gonna come back tomorrow. And then maybe tomorrow you come back and say, hey, I wanna apologize for my behavior or whatever. You start the conversation with an apology.
Yeah, because I think apologizing first will let that other person know, hopefully, that you're letting them know that you're taking full responsibility for what just went down. And I think whether they forgive you or not, that's not the main thing. Is they'll respect you afterwards. And then eventually, human nature, if you do respect you for that, and they really have the time to think about what happened and what transpired, and they're like, you know what, man, I was wrong, but they let me win, and I gave them the total respect for that. You know what, I need to go apologize to them, and everything works better. And then also, it's more so, what can we do in the future? How can we communicate better?
Yeah,
moving forward. So it also takes, mention steps when everything's good and said, and everyone apologizes. Talk about how can we communicate better moving forward too, so that we don't let that thing happen again.
That's true. I had a thought, but I'm blanking. So, anyways, why don't we start wrapping things up? Do you have any major life hacks that you just find to be so valuable?
Good question. In what kind of way? Was it for business, personal development?
Emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence. Okay, perfect, right? Podcast. Remember that thing I shared with you? So this is through my mentor, Ed Milet, through his podcast. And Ed talks about your thermostat of life. The thermostat of life is basically like, let's say that, Jared, think about a time that you were winning in anything. Did you play a sport growing up?
Yeah, growing up, I had a basketball team that went undefeated.
Wow, right. So let's experience that and dive into that, right? Sure. So when you're winning and things like that, you felt really good, right? You're at a good point in your life. Winning is great. Yeah. You didn't lose. You won the championship, right? But when people have those experiences, isn't it funny that life tends to bring you back down to where you were before that?
Yeah, very nerdy and socially awkward. Yeah,
very nerdy and socially awkward, right? But when you're winning and things, you felt like you're invincible. You're not nerdy and socially awkward, right?
Everyone loves it.
But same thing here for business in life. Once you get starting having these wins, let's say that your temperature in life, your normal temperature, let's call it 70 degrees, right? But you start winning in life. You're doing good at your job. You're doing good at your career. You got a promotion. Oh my gosh, right? Your temperature naturally goes up. It's going up to 80 now, maybe 85. But if you're not on a constant path of winning, maybe you got a little setback. You get a little ding at work or whatever, or something was not said to you in a nice way at work. Your life will naturally, and your life temperature, your internal thermostat will lower your temperature back down to what you're used to and what you're comfortable with. So the strategy here is understanding how do you get yourself back to a higher temperature and stay there. One key thing that MLS says is just keep winning. Keep winning so that you keep creating a higher standard for your internal temperature. Or if you're not, you're getting some setbacks, some objections, people are telling you no, then it's going to be dependent on your association. So if you're let's say like in a work environment where, if the typical things that your coworkers talk about is, I don't know, the Kardashians or their favorite TV show or something that's really not productive, then guess what? You're losing sight of what kept you winning and raising your internal temperature, and it's lowering it back down for you, and then you get comfortable with that. The way that you extend your associations is exactly what we talked about earlier on this podcast was, right? What do you listen to? Who do you hang around with? What do you read?
Making that decision to go to a meetup group.
Right, and going out of your comfort zone. So once that becomes the new norm, so your 70 is now an 80, right? You're at a little more comfortable spot. But also winning is a double-edged sword. Sometimes winning, people are just like, I'm cool with this. This is a good level. I could stay here. When really their potential could be much more at that point in time.
Keep aiming higher.
Keep aiming higher. Whatever it is your life goal. So my key thing here is if you want for yourself, you want for your family, right? Don't be selfish. Teach other people how to do that for them. And then maybe, or for yourself, if you have a giving heart, find a way to win more so that you can give more. That's what I believe.
I love it, dude. And so where can people connect with you? On LinkedIn, or you have an Instagram account?
Right. So I have an Instagram account. You can follow me at rj.t.wfg, right? At rj.t.wfg, right? You could also go to my company's website. You can follow me on www.wfgopportunity.com/RJ Tolosa, TOLOSA.
Awesome.
Right. So, you want to follow me and see my journey to where we're headed in the business, right? We're not going to give you the snapshots of success. Maybe we'll start posting things that will kind of help you where you're at. If you're struggling with personal life, business, work related, then that is my added value on the social media spectrum of doing that. And Jared, thank you so much for this opportunity. I would love to do more of these with you and really help out your audience and maybe meet some of them. I know that you sometimes hold some networking meetup groups and whatnot. And if you're out there and we happen to get a chance to meet, then hopefully I could help you in your everyday life.
Yeah, awesome. And RJ, I want to thank you too for your warmth, your likability, your presence in being here, the energy in which you shared, the letting other people win comment. That was great. Last question is, well, no, I'll just cut that out. I'm trying to come up with more. I'm going to cut this shit out. I've always tried. No, that's fine. Yeah. I don't know where I was going with that. Anyways, pleasure having you on, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate you. Man,
I'll cut that out. But hey, that's funny.
It all